How are you missing out? I'm gonna have to stat it out. Sorry, I'm like basically a child. Well, for you, I'm not interested. So if you're a Brit living in America, you literally cannot get like your home. Maybe this is one of those weird things that only I'm gonna be interested in. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I am Yvette and I moved to the UK in May last year. Yeah. So I've been here over a year. So I am documenting my experiences and exposure to British culture and sharing them with you, and you guys can help me along the way. So I wanted to make a video today because I was chatting to an American of mine who's a friend of mine who's American. I don't own an American, and they were talking about how they have never had Ribena, which I know is a very big staple in the UK. Wasn't as much in Australia, but I know about it. And I wanted to know, like, well, why is it not in America? And that sent me down a rabbit hole of all this British food that is like banned in America. So I was like, okay, that's really interesting. So I thought you guys might be interested in it too. So I thought we'll jump into it. I'll explain to you my random findings. This is what happens when I deep dive on the internet. Anyways, without further ado. So we'll start with the Ribena one. So basically, black currant was banned in the US for many, many, many years, and it only just got unbanned because there was a fungus on the black currant that made it toxic to pine trees, which a large portion of America is pine trees. So they banned the fruit altogether, the berry altogether, and then that means now they've got a variation that doesn't have the fungus, so it's not a threat to the pine trees. However, because of how much society has, like, I guess, developed, and blackcurrant hasn't been a part of like the zeitgeist. There's no like blackcurrant flavored things, there's no blackcurrant drinks or like sweets or anything, which I think is really interesting because blackcurrant is quite a common flavor where I'm from as well. And I really like blackcurrant, to be honest. So I'm like, how are you missing out? Ribena with like if you get fizzy water, what's that called? Soda water? Soda water. God, why can't I think? The heat is getting to me. I'm recording this on like the 30-degree days. Why? Who knows? So yeah, I thought that was very interesting. It's just interesting how like society develops and flavors develop, and now it's like very common for them. Like how ranch in America is really common, but like it's not a thing anywhere else, and it's not even a flavor. Like, what flavor is ranch? At least blackcurrant is blackcurrant. Should we? The next one I have is squash. Now I need to explain squash just from my perspective because that gets a bit confusing. So Australians aren't very creative people, I'll be honest. Like, we call everything a chip. So a crisp, that's a chip. A what's it, that's a chip. A hot chip, like fish and chips, they're chips too. And everything's a chip. Cheese balls, chips. Everything's a chip. We do the same with pumpkin. So there's the big pumpkins that you would think of like Halloween. And then, you know, like squash, like butternut squash, that's a pumpkin too. Everything's pumpkin. We do this a lot. It's very confusing. So I got a bit confused because I understood squash in the UK, and basically everywhere outside Australia is its own thing and not actually pumpkin. So all this time I thought I was eating pumpkin, but I was eating squash. Anyways, there's a drink in the UK called squash, unrelated to the pumpkin-like vegetable. So the squash is like a drink. It's I think it's quite similar to cordial, like where you mix like the syrup with water, but instead of water you use soda water to make it fizzy. And yeah, it's delightful. Not in the UK, not anywhere else actually. That is UK centric. I haven't seen that anywhere. So yeah, there you go. Don't be talking squash. Be more specific. And I say that as someone who calls everything a chip. I'm trying to fix myself because it's so bad. It's such a lazy thing to do, and I'm aware the country's just decided to be like, chip. Next one, I thought very interesting. Another deep dive down Wikipedia for me. Cadbury, right? So basically, chocolate in America is rubbish. We know this. Everyone who's been to America knows the chocolate is not good. So basically, the reason Hershey's is awful, and I've written this down because I can't read the word out properly, so I'm gonna have to stat it out. Sorry, I'm like basically a child. So basically, Hershey's puts its milk through a process, and it breaks down the fatty acids in the milk and produces uric acid, which is what is like basically bile. So when they say Hershey's tastes like vomit, it actually tastes like the bile from vomit, like it proper does. We're not crazy. So America has crap chocolate, but they do sell Cadburys, but it's not as good. So what happened was that Hershey's the vomit chocolate, bought the rights to produce Cadburys in the US, which I don't know why they did that, but they did. Maybe just buying out the competitor, I guess. Anyways, so basically the place that makes Hershey's makes Cadburys now, so that I'm imagining the same bile process as in both chocolates. So they've taken the Cadburys that we all know and love and made it awful. Kraft owns Cadburys and produces it in the UK for the UK, but yeah, Hershey's bought the production rights in the US and ruined it. So while it's not like a banned thing in the US, the chocolate you get is not the same, because you can't import from the UK because that's illegal, because distribution rights, legal rubbish is all from Hershey's. The vomit chocolate. That should be its tagline, because it is. So another food that you cannot find in the US is black pudding. Black pudding is basically congealed blood made into like a patty and cooked. I haven't had the luxury of trying black pudding. I know people that swear by it. Power to you. You do you. More for you. I'm not interested. But yeah, so you can't buy that in America because one, you can't import it for sanitary reasons. They don't like it. And then they also just don't make it because of sanitary reasons of like congealing the blood is against like FDA requirements. So you can't get blood pudding if you were like, so if you're a Brit living in America, you literally cannot get like your home food, which is weird. And another one is haggis. So haggis, obviously being a Scottish delicacy, I have had haggis, very good. And I've had vegan haggis, also very good. So basically there's a ban on imports of haggis from Scotland, so you can't get haggis, but they do make a haggis in the US, but it's not the same because it's never as good when it's an imitation. But specifically, they don't have lung in it because obviously haggis is all of the extras. Lung specifically is not in the American one because there's a fluid that leaks into the lungs when the sheep is dead, and that fluid can be like making someone sick. So the FDA was like, well, no one eats this anyway. It's just easier if we ban it than put in this regulation about lung procedures. So the haggis in the US does not have any lungs in it. So there you go. It's not authentic. None of this is authentic. One thing you don't really find in the US as well is tea. Now they have their own sweet tea, like cold sweet tea. And I'm not into that. That's not real. They don't have like a good cup of tea. I know it's kind of having a resurgence in like more of the progressive like international cities, like, you know, like your LA's, New York's and that. But if you were to go to the south of America, I don't think you'd find like a proper cup of tea. You'd find like iced tea, which is full of sugar and crazy. I do like it. Actually, I should do that. Actually, I should make I like to get a really floral tea or fruity tea, and then brew it and then put it in the fridge and cool it down and then drink it in summer. That is so nice. I could do that right now. It's quite warm. But yeah, there's some of the weird things I found while I was researching. So I just thought I wanted to mention that like they don't have tea and they don't have haggis and and the Cadbury's whole debacle. I thought it was fascinating. Another thing they don't have in the US is pasties. So you get like a pastry and you fold it over and you fill it with like meat and vegetables or just vegetables. Or another thing Americans don't have is Cornish pasties. Pasty is basically a pastry that's folded over and it's got filling in it with meat and gravy and veggies. Sometimes it's just veggies, sometimes it's cheese and veggies. All different combinations. You can put whatever you want. I've had a curry pasty before, so good. They also don't have like sausage rolls, and I think my theory, this one is not a Wikipedia deep dive, this is an Yvette opinion, is that American food is so laced with sugar that like all of these like savory foods of like meat pies, pasties, sausage rolls, they don't have enough sugar in them, so they don't really have a market in the US, I guess. But they're so good. I don't know, I could not live without. I love pastry, so tasty. So I don't know how Americans are doing it. So like someone, there's an opportunity there for an investor, is all I'm saying. You're welcome for the financial tip and the business advice. I think you should launch into American markets. Maybe this is one of those weird things that only I'm going to be interested in, but I thought it was cool. So tell me in the comments below if you know of any others that you can't get. If you're American watching this and if you're a Brit watching this in America, let me know if there's anything else you have trouble getting, because I think that's very interesting. Because like in this day and age, you're assuming you can get everything. Like if I wanted, I could go buy Vegemite. Marmite is superior, so I'm not, but don't tell Australia I said that. They won't let me back in. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Remember to hit subscribe so I can see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.